Against the Ropes podcast.
Contra las cuerdas.
Against the Ropes podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. AtR podcast. Gio Garcia here alongside Christian Mosqueda. Back for another episode. Back for more, Chris.
Man, Gio, the boxing gods have blessed us, man. So much to unpack, Gio. So many narratives coming in through the wires, man. Where do you want to start with, Gio? You can start with the Ryan Garcias. You can start with Canelo, with Turkey. Who do you want to start with?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Obviously, you guys see it there. Ring Magazine / Turki Alalashikh ready for a big, huge 2025. A series of announcements, right? A series of rumors after that Ring Magazine yearly show, award show, whatever you want to call it. I feel like this is going to become a thing, especially with Turkey now buying Ring Magazine from the Golden Boy. They're doing big things, and now they're actually putting on cards. So I'm sure you guys heard all the announcements. Let's start with this right here. All right. We'll briefly touch on it and then we'll give our opinions, but you see it there. And I give Turkey some credit because look, I don't know if I've ever been on the Ring Magazine website. You guys see it here. This is the website, Ring Magazine. They got Ryan Garcia there on the headlines. Ryan Garcia versus Rolando Romero. And Devin Haney on his undercard against Jose Ramirez, along with Bakoli and Ajakba, some heavyweight action. This is rumored to be set for May in New York. All right. We heard the rumors, and I think even on the title and on the thumbnail, I had put Garcia versus Cruz, right? Your boy Pitbull Cruz, but scratch that. You know, we know Pitbull has a fight coming up. So I was a little curious as to how that was going to work. We already saw Madrimov pull out of that Boachuk fight as, you know, they announced that Virgil fight. In this case, Ryan Garcia, it seemed like he had confirmed the Pitbull fight, but now he'll be fighting Rolly Romero. And, of course, I'm sure you guys saw also the pictures with Canelo and Turkey. Canelo was right at the front of that stable of fighters, you know, in that Ring Magazine picture. And, of course, the rumors with Crawford have started again. We know Turkey wants that fight to happen. So, thoughts on this, Chris? All of this. That all seems to involve Big Turk.
Yeah, well, no, first of all, Gio, I think a lot of people didn't know that these ring awards were gonna happen, and if they did, we didn't. I don't think we ever expected it to be Oscar-esque, to be so glamorized. I felt like it was a beautiful thing to see. Again, it's where the sport should be, Gio. So again, just to see that many stars, everybody surrounded Turk. We like you say, we saw that 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 picture there. Nothing but boxing royalty. And that's what you want to see. I thought it was funny. First of all, you're like, you have all these fighters. It's a glamorous kind of occasion, but you would think these are fighters, man. There's people across the room that you want to knock their heads out. So, I mean, I feel like Turkey knows what he's doing. He knew what he was doing. There's a little, some talks there at that award show. But just to unpack all this, like you said, everything surrounds Turkey. Everything's finally moving. I feel like the river's finally flowing in the right direction. But yeah, just the fact that you see the website, big announcement there, you're starting to get the blueprint of what the boxing year is looking like. And I'm super excited for these fights that are being announced. I'm a Pitbull kind of guy. Even though he does have his limits, I think he's got one of the best styles. And I was looking forward to that Ryan Garcia fight, Gio, but he pulled out. He says he wants to focus on one fight at a time. Unfortunate, and we'll talk about it, whether it's the right move or not in a little bit. But yeah, man, just to see that Big Trick is doing things right. He knows who to put in front of that website, whose face to put, whether you love him or hate him. He is somebody that's going to be bringing in numbers. So yeah, again, I'm excited for what's to come. I think as a boxing fan, you can only be excited for this 2025, and yeah, man, I'm here for it.
Yeah, so let's dive deeper into this Ryan Garcia card that was announced. As I said, a ton of rumors. Pitbull Cruz. He was even out here in LA, Chris, at the Commerce Casino fights. Right Hook Roxy fought out there. I gotta say, a lot of stars out there, man. Teofimo Lopez was out there. I saw El Divino Espinosa. I saw Carlos Valderas was out there too. Of course, our boy Alan Garcia was out there. Ashton Silva was out there. Just a lot of people, man. I'm pretty sure I didn't even catch everyone who was out there, but yeah, Ryan was out there, and he seemed to confirm that he was going to fight Pitbull, right? And then the announcement came after that he was actually going to fight what's his name? Rolly Romero. Rolly disappeared, Chris. Like, whatever happened to Rolly? Like, we haven't heard from him. And now he's getting this fight. So I was I'm not going to lie, I was pretty surprised by this.
Yeah, no, like you said, everything indicated that Pitbull was going to fight. And I read an article online that Pitbull decided to pull out of this mega fight because he felt it was bad luck. He referenced the Jaime Munguia with Bruno Sarasa fight, where he has fights already lined up, and you're kind of overlooking it. So Pitbull did reference that. He's like let me focus on this guy Fierro. Let me be respectful. He's on the undercard of Benavides Morel. So he's trying to just lock in and focus in. I gotta ask you, Gio. We've seen fights where you kind of skip that big payday, that big name, and you try to take an interim fight. Do you think this is a fight that can come back and bite? Would you have still signed up for Ryan and say, let me just secure that big bag, or what are your thoughts on
that? Yeah, Big Bro saying that Cruz ducking. Let me see what the comment here. Just like he wanted to no smoke with Shakur a couple years back. I can see the logic behind that. As I said, guys like Madrimov, he just pulled out of the Suri Bochuk fight, an injury. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. But I don't know. I think who's he fighting? Fierro. I think Angel Fierro. He's on the undercard of Benavides, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously a fight with Ryan Garcia, with that comes the money, the fame. If you win, you're in the mix. I'm not too familiar with Fierro, so obviously if I had to choose, if I was in his shoes, I'm trying to fight Ryan. Especially because Pitbull has been calling a lot of names out here, and Ryan was one of them. And if the opportunity presented itself, I feel like he should have taken it. I think for for Ryan Garcia. I think it's a better fight against Rolly Romero. I think I don't know if the timing is correct, simply because Rolly's coming off a loss, right, to Pitbull. Has he fought since? I don't think he
I don't
has.
think it's, but yeah.
He he has no momentum. Ryan Garcia doesn't really have any momentum. We haven't at the time of the fight. It's probably going to be like 13 months since his last fight, and that was a great victory against obviously Devin Haney. But yeah, the timing is a little odd. But for Garcia, I think it is an easier fight. He mentioned that Pitbull was going to be a tougher fight than Devin Haney. And I think he gets an even easier fight for him. So I think it's a win-win scenario for Ryan. And I'm not sure that Pitbull wins with this scenario.
Yeah, obviously it just depends on what Pitbull does in this next fight. Obviously, if he loses to Fierro in an upset, we're gonna be like, man, should have taken that fight with Ryan. If he wins, we're gonna say like, okay, he locked in, he focused in. His stock rises up a little bit. He gets back on winning ways since losing to Rayo Valenzuela. But yeah, man, you know me, Gio. I've always felt that Pitbull Ryan Garcia. I know you don't like my comparisons, but that's a Goku versus Vegeta kind of fight. That's a style that intrigues me, that intrigues a lot of the boxing fans. Tall fighter versus short fighter, but the short fighter has that come forward, aggressive Mexican style. It's going to be a clash of strategies. So that's one that most people would have salivated over. But yeah, like you said, Rolando Romero, I just checked ourselves. He did win against an unknown opponent after his loss to Isaac Cruz. So he's got a little bit of momentum, but like you said, not a whole lot. Not that Rolando Romero that was just on social media, that was entertaining. He's still gonna put on the show. Let me just clarify. But it's that, like you said, where did Rolly go? We used to seeing him loud, and just being an entertainer. So again, I wish we could have marinated this fight a little bit more, but it is what it is. I'm sure once we get those press conferences, we're gonna get some De La Hoya, Mayorga type of press conferences. I can't wait to see what they bring. But yeah, man. Again, it's I feel like 2025. These lightweight, these junior welterweights, we're gonna get these guys in the ring.
Yeah, and Manuel Jaimes was the opponent for Romero last time out. I believe that was on the Canelo undercard. Now that you think about it, September 14, Jaimes was 16-2, relatively unknown. Not a memorable fight for Rolly. So, now he gets the guy who, they've been quote unquote beefing for the past, I don't know how many years. For you guys who are longtime supporters of the show, you guys remember we had Rolly on our show when he had 3-4 professional fights. And that's at the time where that sparring video came out, him against Ryan, and there's a lot of trash talk back and forth. It seemed like the beef was real, and then over the years they seem to be more and more friendly with each other. So we'll see what we get for the build-up. But yeah, I'm not mad at that. I thought it was super interesting that Devin Haney is going to be now on Ryan's undercard. Like, I don't think they are. I don't think they're expressing it like that. I don't think they're writing it like that. Look what it says on the headline. It says, is it this one? No, I think it's this one here. Let me switch it. This headline says Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney to share card before planned rematch. So they don't want to say it, but Devin Haney is on. He's on Ryan Garcia's undercard, Chris.
Yeah, I think he's riding his Australia Cambosos kind of wave. I think he realized that Ryan is a ticket seller. Ryan does bring eyes. Ryan was really his. It should have been a gimme fight for Devin Haney. He should have won that fight. To a decision in most people's eyes. But we saw that he dropped the ball. So I think he knows that he's got to take a step back. He's not in the boxing fans' favor. Even though he may say that, what, as long as they're talking about me, that's a good thing. Yeah, sure. But he's well aware that the boxing fan we are not on his side right now. As boxing fans, we are not Team Haney right now. We're just everything he's done is not admirable from what a boxer or a fighter should be. So I think he knows like he's got to take a step back. He's got to, just bounce back, stay close to Ryan, and see if he can get that fight. Gio, I still don't. I'm still not convinced, from that first fight that Devin Haney can do anything different. I honestly thought his boxing skill was much higher, and I thought that his defensive prowess was going to be, a difference maker, and it wasn't. So I don't know, man. I don't know if he should be having Ryan on his mind right now. I mean, he's going to have to fight him to try to avenge those ghosts, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and look, Jose Ramirez is a favorable fight. Let's keep it real. I've never been a big fan of Jose Ramirez. I think he's one-dimensional. He's going to come forward. He's going to get hit. He's going to block punches with his face. I think that should be an easy, unanimous decision for Devin Haney. Especially with Jose Ramirez coming off a loss against Arnold Barboza, pretty much outboxed that fight. So I think we're seeing the end of Ramirez little by little. I don't think he poses much of a threat for Haney. But Jose Ramirez, he can punch, and he is a big guy. He's 5'11", 6 feet tall. He's a solid guy. And we saw how much trouble Haney had against, a guy basically his size or a little bigger in Ryan Garcia. We had never really seen Haney against an opponent like that. Against Lomachenko, he had a big size advantage. I still think he lost that fight, but he was able to have some success, using that size to his advantage. Fighting smaller guys like Linares. He got hurt in that one, but Gamboa too. We've been accustomed to watching him, be a weight bully. He couldn't do it against Ryan. Let's see what he does against Ramirez. But I agree. I don't think anything changes in the second fight if it happens. I think if anything against Ryan, I think he might get stopped. Styles make fights, and it seems like Ryan knows him well. He knows him well from the amateurs, and it seems like he got to know him really well. Also, in that professional ring, he had a ton of success, and it was an easy fight for Ryan that night. So, things are going to get interesting if both of them win. They're supposed to fight in October. Let's hope they win. I think that's the best for boxing. I think the rematch will be huge. Turkey's going to be splashing that cash. And interesting announcement by Ring Magazine.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, Gio. I don't think Ramirez has too much left to challenge a guy like Devin Haney. Devin Haney should get a decision in this fight. Unless he can't exercise those ghosts from that Ryan Garcia fight. We do know that Jose Ramirez is a one-dimensional come-forward fighter, aggressive, all offense, not a whole lot of defense. If Devin Haney, again, loses focus for a split second, you mentioned it, has a Linares moment, then Ramirez could capitalize. But I'm telling you right now, Gio, if Devin Haney cannot get past a guy like Ramirez, don't even call out Ryan. Honestly, again, Ramirez is a good fighter. He was a champion at one time, but he's out of his prime now. So it's not going to be an easy fight. We saw it wasn't an easy fight for Arnold Barboza, but you can see who's in their moment, and the Barbozas, the Devin Haney's, they're in their moment. So if Devin Haney cannot get past a Jose Ramirez because of those ghosts that last fight left, then I don't see us entertaining a rematch. But we'll see what happens. Again, it should be a doable fight for Devin Haney, staying close to Ryan Garcia. Yeah,
and let's not forget about Bakoli Ajagba, another good fight. We wanted to see Bakoli in a big fight after that Anderson win. I think Ajagba is a perfect opponent for him. Ajagba is still a very dangerous guy. 20-1, 14 KOs. Bakoli 21-1, 16 KOs. So, this is I think for Ajagba. He lost to Frank Sanchez, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a must-win for him if he wants to really insert his name and get a big fight, because we talked about those guys at heavyweight who are probably closer to retirement than anything. The Zile Zongs of the world. Even Joseph Parker. He's been around for a long time. Let's see what happens in his next fight. But it seems like Efe Ajagba is, just a level below those guys. So I think he needs his big win, and and Bacoli. You know, the way he dominated Anderson, he has all the momentum in the world right now. We've even heard the rumors of possibly an AJ fight, so I think it's a must-win for him too, if he wants to get those big paydays. So yeah, that's a very very good card, by the Ring Magazine, New York.
You saw my reaction, Gio. When I saw those names, I was like, oh man, I was looking at my chops. I was like, people don't know, man. Like they don't know how good of a fight this is. Just two heavy hitters. Obviously, we know FA was when he was first coming out. We remember him just knocking everybody out. You know, kind of like a pre-Wilder. You know, obviously he's had that loss since, and he's kind of lost a little bit of that mystique. But he's still a big puncher, like you said. He could still hurt somebody like Bacoli, and of course, like you said, we saw what Bacoli did. We see what kind of big man he is. He's had to come out the hard way. You know, he's a definite threat in the heavyweight division, and yeah, this fight is definitely not going the distance, Gio. I think you know that. Everybody knows that. Anybody that follows boxing that knows these two guys, like you said, they both need this one and they both need to make a statement. So they both have the potential to, you know, have a knockout highlight of the year type fight. So I'm excited for this one. Man, two big men, two strong men. Yeah, dude, anything could happen. I can see them both trading knockdowns. I think it's going to come down who has the better chin for this fight.
Yeah, heavy hitters for sure. And look, let's take a look at Ajagba. We mentioned that Frank Sanchez loss. That was in 2021. You know, that was what, three years and some change ago. Ever since then, he's been on a winning streak. He last defeated Guido Vianello, a split decision. So, yeah, I mean, that's an exciting fight. Ajagba, 30 years old, 20-1 once again. Very good fight. Our guy Jess says, I'm excited about that heavyweight fight. I got Bacoli. Yeah, I think Bacoli is supposed to win this one, but it's a heavyweight division. You never know, man. As we said, Ajagba, powerful puncher, but yeah, I think this is supposed to be a fight for Bacoli to officially arrive and make a statement. But we'll see. Great card thus far, and I'm sure they're going to continue to add names to it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people early estimates are saying Bacoli, Gio, and why would you not go with Bacoli? Just seeing what he's done recently, he's got the momentum. But again, it's about the preparation, how these guys get ready. But yeah, man, if you had to put a bet right now, I would not be mad if you put the house on Bacoli. Let's go.
All right, and that was a more recent announcement. Let's talk a little bit about Canelo Crawford, Chris, because it seems like Turkey still is looking for that fight, possibly in September, Las Vegas. What are the possibilities of this fight happening? What do you think? From zero.
Let's rewind a little bit, Gio. Let me just ask you first of all, what were your thoughts when you saw that Canelo Turkey picture come out? You know, showing like these guys are gonna work together. What that's the thing that kind of started it all. What were your initial thoughts on that?
I wasn't shocked. I was a bit surprised that it happened that quick, but I mean, it made sense with the words and everything. So, but yeah, I'd rather see people working together than not. So, a bit surprised by the timing, but I can't be shocked.
Yeah, and that's something we talked about on previous podcasts. Where like, you know, it just comes down to respect. The money's already there. It's whether, you know, the respect gets put out there by Turkey, and you know whether Canelo put this pride aside, decides to work, and that seems to be the case. But yeah, back to Terrence Crawford. You asked what are my thoughts. To me, there's weight divisions for a reason, but I am one of those people that does think that Terrence Crawford is a great fighter, not a good fighter. You know, not just an elite fighter, but a great fighter. I think he's obviously when you think of great welterweights, you think of Mayweather, you think of the Sugar Ray Leonards. You know, I think he's getting close to that level. You know, I think he's getting up there, but he's got to prove it against, you know, another great in Canelo. And again, there's weight reasons. There's weight classes for a reason. So, you know, I'm one of those people that favors, you know, the bigger good man versus the great little man. You know, especially when it's this many weight disparities with this many weight classes in between. So I mean, Terrence wants the bag, and that's his boy Turkey there. If it's a 3-fight deal, we'll get into the numbers in a bit, but that's something I would want to see, Gio. Wouldn't favor Terrence Crawford, but I would want to see him test himself. So again, Canelo's not too much bigger height wise, but he's got a ton of muscle, man. He's got a ton of mass. That's a beefy boy, Gio. So yeah, let me ask you, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I still think it's a mismatch, but if Turkey wants it, hey, he showed us that he can make it happen. And that's one of the reasons why I predicted that 2025 was going to be an even better year than 2024. Even with all the great fights that we got, all the undisputed fights that we got, this one seems more like a fantasy fight. But look, if the money's right, I think Turkey can make any fight happen. As I said, and I've said it this whole time, I think it's a big mismatch. I think they got similar skills, but one guy's just stronger, bigger, better chin, and he's just a bigger star than the other. I don't think Terrence Crawford has ever been in a fight like that. Not even the Errol Spence fight is going to compare to what he'll face walking out of that tunnel with everybody booing him and everybody cheering for the redheaded Mexican. There's levels to this, and Crawford has never really been at that level. He's never really been a star like that. So I think for many, many reasons, it's a huge mismatch. But I mean, if Canelo gets his 100 milli, if Crawford gets paid, I'm sure they'll both be happy regardless of the outcome. And I think they'll make this a mainstream success if it does happen.
Yeah, once again, Jim, we talked about this. Anybody that gets in there with Canelo, automatically, as soon as you sign and that ink dries, you're already a winner. No matter what in life, that's life changing money. Yeah, you're gonna give 10% to the medical bills, but after that, you keep that 90%. Obviously, pay out your manager, pay off some stuff, taxes, whatever. But you're set. You're gonna end up winning no matter what. So again, Terrence wants this not just for the legacy, but like this is money that's gonna change his life. And when you got Turkey, behind you, that's money on steroids. So again, this is a great move for Terrence. I think. Obviously, again, the fight is another animal in itself. I'm one of the people, Gio, that I do think he's got the skills to compete with Canelo. But again, it's just the way. It's how will he take Canelo's power punches. And again, I think he's going to be competitive. When I think of a fight, that Canelo fight with a smaller fighter, I think of the Amir Khan fight. It's going to be competitive early. It's going to be Terrence probably picking up the rounds early, the way Amir did against Canelo. But eventually, I just see the bigger Canelo landing something big that's gonna hurt Terrence. I know there's some clauses, right? There's no rehydration clause or something, so that might make it last a little bit longer. But man, Canelo is he's a big beefy boy. So yeah, we're gonna have to see the best version of Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, to make it very competitive. But if there's anybody, Gio, I think it's him.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he'll win most of those early rounds until he gets hit. Um, and that's typically how it happens. I feel like with the bigger guys fighting the smaller guys. Smaller guys usually a little quicker. Um, they know what they're in there for. They gotta get points. They gotta win rounds. But um, yeah, I think when you're that much lighter than Canelo, because Crawford's probably the same height, probably longer arms, reach, but they've been fighting at different weight classes. They're used to getting punched by different types of fighters. Canelo is out here fighting these guys who are 6'1", 6'2", probably walk around at 200 pounds. You know, Crawford was out here struggling against Madrimov when he went up in weight. So, I think there's just such a big difference. But I think it'll be interesting nonetheless. Like I said, I think it can be a mainstream success, and that's always good for boxing. Now let's go to some comments before we continue this conversation because the chat is getting lit. Let's see. El Pachuco, shout out to him. He says Crawford Cole out is out of hand. The betting odds have it about 50-50. Ridiculous. Hey, let's go put some money, Chris. If that's true. Oh man, I hope that's true. Let's all pitch in,
Yeah.
guys. Let's all pitch in.
Hey, again, I'm you know me, Gio, for the last years. You know, I'm a big Terrence Crawford fan, man. I'm probably one of his most ardent supporters, but I even know there's limits, man. And again, we'll get into the comments right now, but like this one kind of reminds me of, Mikey Garcia when he thought he saw something in Errol Spence, man. Like just because you see something doesn't mean it's there. Again, there's weight classes for a reason, and Mikey found out the hard way.
Yeah, and recently I saw a video too where Mikey was suggesting that Crawford shouldn't go up that high in weight, because if anyone knows best is Mikey. Very skillful fighter. 130, 126, 130, 135. He won at 142 and then went at 47 and didn't win a round against Errol Spence Jr. But some more comments here. Let's see. Crawford looked uncomfortable against Madrimov, and Madrimov isn't even throwing shots. Yeah, Madrimov was doing a lot of feinting, and Terrence did bite on a lot of those. That Madrimov Virgil Ortiz fight is gonna be interesting for that reason too. Let's see if Virgil can figure it out, because it seemed like Crawford never really figured out the pattern, the rhythm, and I think Virgil might struggle too.
Yeah, no, I agree. That one's gonna be a tricky fight. I think even before the whole Canelo talk, I was like, I want to see how Terrence does against Madrimov, and that's gonna tell me a lot. And it did. I think that one showed us that there's a limit. The way Canelo had his limit at light heavy, Terrence Crawford has his limit at 154. So just to even work with the higher divisions, man, but that's greatness, Gio. He's probably doesn't have enough challenges in and around his division the way Loma did. So he's looking to challenge himself, and you can't knock him for that.
Let's see. Big Bro says, "Stop it. Terrence doesn't move like Khan."
Hey, okay, he's got a point there, but come on, Khan was already, on the way towards damaged goods. Terrence is still, este compa está enterito. But good take, good take. I like that.
Canelo's huge compared to Crawford and Madrimov. He's going to hurt him, says Crawford's loaded gloves.
Damn, what a name. Hey, shout out to Amir Khan, man. He watches the show. Shout out, boy.
Yeah, shout out to Khan, man. Well, that was one of the top interviews right there on our channel, I'd say. He gave Canelo a lot of props too. It'd be interesting to see what he thinks. He probably did. I think he's commented on it, right?
I think he said something. Yeah.
On the possible Crawford fight, but let's see. Pachuco says, I think Canelo's more skilled than Crawford, as shown by his resume. They say Crawford is highly skilled, but against Sue, in short, resume matters a lot. I 100% agree, but for some reason, ESPN has brainwashed people into thinking otherwise. Right, Chris? Look at Chris's face.
Hey, let me just say, I'll just put it real quick. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm one of those people that believes that he got blackballed. If he wasn't blackballed by PBC, trust me, his resume would have been a whole lot better. Just gonna say that.
Yeah, whatever he said. All right. Let's see. Skills are tested by the quality of the opposition. Man, look at Pachuco cooking, man. Let the man cook. Making a lot of sense on that chat, Pachuco. Gonello also has better defense. People tend to forget. Terrence gets hit clean every fight. Terrence never figured out that straight by Madrimov. Madrimov landed that straight right at will. Zero head movement. I don't know. People just forget. I don't know. What do you think about that, Chris? You think Canelo's defense is better than Crawford's?
I agree, it's better. I wouldn't say by a huge amount, but yeah, definitely better.
I would say it's by a huge amount.
That Mexican head movement. He's got the waist movement. No, Gonello is it's not just his chin. He takes flush shots and he takes them around the chin and he takes it well, but it's also that he's got great defense, that he doesn't get hit all the time where your chin gets weakened. So yeah, no, he's got formidable defensive skills. Gonello does.
Let's see. What else do we have? Jess says, my son had the pleasure of seeing Virgil train this camp. Ooh, that's dope. That's dope, man. That's a huge fight, man. That's a big test for Virgil. I think the toughest in his career. The Boachuk one was tough. This one might be a little tougher just because of the style. Maybe not physically as tough, but probably mentally. It's just gonna be a tactical match. We'll see what Robert comes up with, Chris.
Yeah, no. Again, obviously, we've seen Virgil when it comes to those physical fights. That's where he gets tested. Like, he gets tested like woefully, and he seems to always find that extra gear. With Mean Machine, he got tested. He got rocked. I think he dropped a knee, I believe, or he was dropped. And the same thing with Boachuk, but he gets back up, and he seems just to have a little bit more than the other guy. But yeah, I agree. This one with Madrimov, and I think they've sparred before. I think Joel has told me that they sparred before, and something got misconstrued through translation. But yeah, Madrimov, has given him trouble, and I think Virgil has acknowledged that he's a tricky guy. But yeah, man, this one's gonna be good. Again, that Madrimov Terrence fight kind of told me, okay, Madrimov's level is much higher than his record indicates. So yeah, it should be a good fight. And again, I think I'd slightly favor Virgil just because he seems to have a little bit more, in those crucial moments. But again, we'll see what kind of game plan. This is also a corner match, Joel Diaz versus Robert Garcia, man. So I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it's a great match. All right, let's see what else people are talking about here. If Crawford fights Canelo the way he fought Madrimov, he's going to get stopped, says Crawford's loaded gloves. It's not a bad take, Chris. It's not a bad take. You think Crawford gets stopped against Canelo? You think it's a possibility?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a possibility. I think it's a possibility. I see it, I see kind of like a Canelo versus Khan. Obviously, he got stopped in the fifth, sixth round. I give Terence Crawford much more credit than Khan. So I see him, if this man has never been stopped, Gio. Again, he's never been stopped, but maybe the 11th round. Again, as we get closer, I'm going to see how Terence is filling up his, into his body. But man, again, I don't want to discount him, man. He's a dog. Again, that fight with Errol Spence showed how much of a dog he is, not just willfully but skillfully. So again, I know we're discounting him because of the size difference, but he's gonna make it competitive. So I'm excited for this one, Gio. Low key.
Yeah, I think if they were the same size, I think he still probably gets stopped, Chris. But that's just me.
No.
Come on, man. Look at Pachuco. Let's listen to Pachuco. He's making sense. You're not making much sense right now. He says if Bud was fighting for legacy, he would fight the killers at 154. Virgil, Boachuk, Murtazaliev, Madrimov, Zhu. Hey, look, Chris won't admit it, but this has been Crawford's whole career, and there's a reason why he never, reached stardom in boxing. He's 36 years old, I think. If you take a look at 140, when he was just a division lower, when he was fighting the Gamboas, Gamboa was tiny, and the Ray Beltrans of the world, the Mir Khans are fighting each other, Matisse, Chino Maidana, Lamont Peterson, Danny Garcia. Crawford never went up in weight until those guys left. Let's look at 147. Those guys all fought each other too at 147. When you want to talk about Keith, you want to talk about Sean Porter, you want to talk about Danny Garcia, you want to talk about Errol Spence. Errol Spence collected 3 belts, and what was Crawford doing? He's fighting retired fighters like Kell Brook and Amir Khan, and got his belt from Jeff Horn. At 54, he fought Madrimov and said, hey, that's it. Let me just get a payday. Now, I'm just saying, Chris, who said the comment that he blackballed himself? Who said that? Let me scroll up here. Somebody said he blackballed himself.
First of all, I agree that he didn't fight all those names. I felt like he should have. I'm sure he felt like he should have. You can only fight your shadow when all these guys are fighting each other, not wanting to fight you, Gio. Let's speak facts. Let's speak facts. PBC kept them out. They shunned them out, man. They wanted to keep all the money in house. I do agree that was probably the best.
You can't prove that, Chris.
In their primes, Gio, but he watched them all, Gio. That's not what he did to Errol Spence.
That sounds cute, but you can't prove that, Chris. It sounds good. This story sounds good, but you can't prove it. The truth
Errol
is,
Spence,
all those
younger
guys were fighting each
fighter.
other, and Crawford didn't. So those are the facts. I'm just saying. Let's talk about reality.
Hey, again, I get it. He's not gonna have those names in the back in his resume, in his box rec. I get that. Completely agree. But what he did to Errol Spence tells me he would have done that to those guys as well. Again,
Hey,
again.
who did he fight in his prime? You tell me. Who did it fight in his prime?
No, I agree. I agree
Take
that
your time. Think about it.
He doesn't have those sexy names outside of Errol Spence. I do agree with that. But those guys also were fighting each other, and they kept them. They didn't want him. They didn't want him to play ball with them. Come on, Gio. It's in the pudding.
You can't prove
They
it.
didn't want to work with Uncle Bob, and a lot of it falls on Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob should have been, finding a way to negotiate. But Uncle Bob also had his pride. He didn't want to play ball, and again, come on. When this goes down in history, those guys are not going to be in Terrence Crawford's league. Like just straight up.
Well, because look, they all decided to fight each other, and they all took their losses like men, Chris. That's what an old school fighter does. All right? That's what an old school fighter does. Let's go to some comments, man, because the chat's on fire right now, in my opinion. Let's see. He didn't blackball himself. Top Rank was paying him 5 to 6 mil to fight other top rank fighters, and he resigned with them. He was getting overpaid with Top Rank to fight these easy fights, Chris. He didn't want the legacy fights. 37 years old. Look at him.
Bro, there's videos of him calling out Errol Spence behind the scenes years and years ago.
Bro, I can call out Errol Spence, Chris. That doesn't make it true.
Again, I think this falls more on the Godfather.
Sounds like excuses. Sounds like excuses.
I think them as business people, they know what they were doing, Gio. They were trying to maximize the most amount of money for themselves. So again, like I agree with Pachuco and that, he doesn't have those sexy names, and these names at 150 they're very dangerous, Gio. The Virgils, the Bochucks. I would think Murtazalia is probably the most dangerous of them all. I probably wouldn't favor Terrence against that guy. That guy's a beast. But again, we'll see what happens with this Canelo fight. But I would have loved to have seen Crawford fight these guys before fighting a Canelo, because after a Canelo fight, a lot of people will say he's damaged goods, and I'll probably be one of them if I see what I expect to see come fight night. But yeah, man, 154 is a loaded division, one of the best divisions in boxing right now, and just to see all those monsters, all those bulls, dude, I'm excited for 2025.
Look, let's. I'm not lying to you, Chris. Look, I'll go through Crawford's resume real quick. Look,
I'm not discounting that, G. I'm just saying, like he got blackballed. They didn't want the smoke with them.
Chris
did not.
Chris, I'm still gonna say the names, no matter how bad you try to stop me. I'm still gonna say the names, okay? I'm just saying facts, Chris. Those fairy tales sound cool and all, but look, before Spence, he fought David Avanesian. He fought Sean Porter. Sean Porter retired after that. He fought Kell Brook before that. I don't think we saw Kell Brook after that. He fought Kavaliuskas. He got dropped against him too. Mean Machine.
He beat him, though. He beat him.
I didn't say he didn't. I said he got dropped. Amir Khan. I don't think we saw Khan after that either. Jose Benavides Jr. with one leg. Jeff Horn. Damn, that's your run at 47? Oh, and don't get me started on 40, Chris. 40 gets even worse. You want to talk about 40? Let's talk. Look, he became undisputed by defeating Julius Edongo, Chris. Julius Edongo. Oh, man.
I'm going to let you finish.
Felix Diaz, John Molina Jr., Victor Postal, to me, his best win. Henry Lundy, like, come on, man. What is this? That's crazy. Yeah, ESPN and Top Rank did a great job promoting this guy. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, fair. Those are not sexy names. Those are not memorable names. I completely agree. Not knocking that. But I'm gonna say a quote which is very true, Gio. Very true. And I think it's frustrating for him from his point of view. When you beat somebody so bad, so dominantly, all of a sudden they become nobodies. That's exactly what he did, Gio. I remember in Congo, he was
Stop,
kind of like the big man before Paul Stoll.
man. Come on,
Hey, Gio, hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. I've been following the sport a minute. That guy was pretty good up until he ran into Bud Crawford, and then never again. That's what he does, Gio. And just to piggyback off his quote, this is what Terrence said, and I think his greatness kind of got to him in this quote, but he did say, and this is in response to Gonello, because Gonello did say the same thing. He did say like, you haven't fought nobody except for Errol Spence. Those are some fighting words there, Gio. And he's echoing the same sentiments that you're saying, that the chat is saying. But clap back, he said like, hey, once I fight them, they become nobodies. He's like, remember that. So he's throwing some heat back at Gonello. So I mean, again, I think this is Crawford really feeling himself, and I think he's overfilling it too much, because this is another great fighter that's way bigger than you. So again, I'm excited for this. If Terrence will use this as fuel, it's just going to make this fight more competitive. And again, I don't think that Gonello is going to overlook him. But again, I think people forget how good he really is. And again, just because you see the resume that sexy names aren't there doesn't mean he's not as good as what I think he is. So, him doing what he did to Errol Spence and the way he did it kind of proved to me how elite he is. So again, I'm excited for a fight of elite fighters, but we'll see what happens, man. Again, it's a dream fight for a reason, man. But we'll see what happens.
Terrence Crawford is just happy to be named in the same sentence as Canelo. Yeah, he's gonna turn into a groupie like Berlanga did after the fight. Watch. These guys all love Canelo. They just don't want to admit it, but they all use his name for promotion. It's all disrespect up until that moment where they get into the ring, they get hit, and then the final bell rings, and now they love Canelo. That's how it goes, man.
Again, I'm not discounting Gonello. He's arguably the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, Gio. But again, I think Terrence doesn't get enough love. He's a great American fighter. So my question is this, because I know you've been a harsh critic of Terrence, for many years, and I think you gained a little bit more respect for him in that Errol Spence fight. So I'll pose this same question: what would your thoughts on Crawford be if he were to upset Gonello?
He's on steroids.
Man, no credit. Hey, even Mayweather said it. Like, hey,
It's just
they'll always
not.
find something. They'll always find
It's
something.
not a
But
possible outcome. It's not a possible outcome.
okay.
In other words,
But if he does, if he busts the Bruno Charase, what were your thoughts be on him? Does he become an all-time great in your opinion?
oh, for sure, the greatest upset in history, for sure.
I agree just because of the weight difference, but I mean, hey, skills pay the bills. I think he's one of the best, two, switch fighter left and right. But yeah, man. Again, I want to see his chin tested. There's been moments in previous fights where he's gone touched up, but I mean, nobody's ever folded him. He does the folding. So again, Canelo, one of the best chins. If he's not hurt by a true middleweight like a Triple G, I don't see him being hurt by a Terrence Bud Crawford. But again, I didn't expect that in that Errol Spence fight. So I mean, a lot of variables. We'll see what happens. Obviously, I think we know who we favor, but hey, man, he's chasing greatness, and I'm not mad at that.
All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see if they make it official. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be talking about it for months to come, Chris. Before we get out of here, of course, we gotta switch gears because the monster is fighting, Chris. Naoya Inoue is fighting on Friday. All right. Late replacement. Sam Goodman dropped out yet again. This time, the show must continue. All right. So Naoya Inoue Pound for pound great, 28-0, 25 KOs, 31 years old. He'll be fighting Ye Jun Kim. Kim, 21, 2-2, 13 KOs, 32 years old. He's got a couple wins, two fight win streak. But yeah, I think this is just a late replacement, Chris, and Naoya should shine, should be himself. I think he's going to be a bit upset that Sam Goodman kept dropping out, and he's going to take it out on Kim, unfortunately. So, look, we can put this as the first official prediction of the year, Chris. All right? Because we said last year, we got to throw these in there because you just never know what's going to happen. You never know if you're going to get a Saras moment. So, I'm locking mine in. I'm sure your prediction is going to be the same. So, I'll just go ahead and drop mine. Naoya Inoue KO.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think the monster is going to start off the year on a high note. Again, late replacement. You got to commend Kim, taking this one on such short notice. But I'm sure he's prepared. I'm sure he sees this as an opportunity to inject himself in the mainstream names. If he is able to somehow beat Naoya Inoue, I would even say is an even bigger upset than Sarase. So again, Munguia is nowhere near the top places that Inoue is. So I don't expect Inoue to be shocked in this event. But again, it's a showcase fight for Inoue. It should be. He should be putting the touches together to get a knockout, a sensational one, in my opinion. That's going to make the rounds on social media. So yeah, I agree. Inoue, monster, stays in the top 3 pound for pound. I currently have him number 2, right behind Usyk. But yeah, man, I'm excited. It's on Thursday, correct, Gio?
I believe it says the 25th. So that's the 24th, sorry. 24th. So that's Friday morning for us.
Friday morning. So I'm put my alarm. I think the car starts at 1 a.m. Pacific time. So usually the main event is about 3:45 a.m. I want to say. So put that alarm on. Try to see this knockout, and see the monster start off 2025 on the right foot. But yeah, man, I'm excited just to see Inoue again. He's a modern great. He does everything right. People call him almost a perfect fighter, which I agree. He's just fundamentally sound. So again, we'll see how he's it's the first time he's been knocked down in his previous fight or the fight before that. So let's see if he decides to tidy things up. And yeah, man, again, I can't wait to see it. One of the modern greats back in action.
Yeah, and look at the odds, man. They're
I'm
showing the Munguia ones, but let's see right here. Kim plus 1,400, Inoue minus 5,000.
Damn. Well, let me just say, Joe, because we like to have fun with sometimes with betting. I mean, put $5 on the other guy, man. I mean, there's always upsets in boxing. There's always the ones that I should have put a dollar or two. Hey, man, you got $5 you can lose, but again, I wouldn't want to see the monster lose. But sometimes you got to try to catch those upsets. I don't see it happening here, but yeah, man. Imagine the people that should have put money on Sarasa, man. They probably would have been so much happier they put those $10. But yeah, man. Again, I'm excited for Inoue to get back in the ring and just to start things off in the right foot. Again, I kind of want to see him 3-4 times this year. Hopefully, we see that. But yeah, man, it's one of the most dominant fighters in the sport right now.
All right, and look, this is what it says on ESPN. The start time is 1:15 Pacific, 4:15 a.m. if you are on the East Coast. So yeah, the main event maybe 3 a.m. here, I'm assuming. Not sure, but yeah, it's gonna be early Friday morning, ESPN Plus. If you guys want to catch the monster now, yeah, Inoue. Crawford's loaded glove says he's not number 1 pound for pound until he fights the guys at 126.
Damn.
I agree with you. I have him at number 2, right?
Yeah.
Beneath Usyk. But I think it's a little unfortunate. Sam Goodman was supposed to be a decent opponent, and he dropped out twice. So
Yeah. No, I have my number two right behind Usyk as well. But yeah, Gio, I agree with Big Bro. I think it's gonna come down to see what round he knocks him out. Do you have a prediction for how many rounds this fight goes?
I'm gonna say three. I'll
Three.
say three.
Not even giving this guy a chance, man. Put some respect on his opponent's name, man.
None, bro.
I say 5 rounds. I'm gonna give him a little bit more respect. If he goes more than five, Gio, I'll commend him again. One of the most difficult assignments in boxing, is fighting Inoue. I would say fighting Usyk. So like these are cerebral assassin type of fighters. So man, again, if he goes past 5 rounds, you should be proud of his performance.
Big Bro says KO within 3, 5 if he gives the crowd a few more minutes of his time.
Man, Big Bro just wants to see blood. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this year, Gio. Again, everything's starting to take shape. Shout out to Turkey for just adding more fuel to the boxing fire, man. I'm excited for these events. I know one of our predictions early on, well, one of your predictions was that he's gonna have other mega cards, and at first I was like, man, that's wishful thinking, man. We should just be happy we get like one mega card, but it seems like it's gonna happen, man. It looks like he's putting the touches to other mega cards. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's gonna continue, man. I think it's gonna continue. As I said, Turkey has a good track record so far. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a great 2025. We might get an A+ here, Chris.
For real, man. You gotta protect Turkey at all costs, man. I swear, like if he doesn't have his security team, we gotta. I mean, obviously he's had no shortage of money, but protect Turkey at all costs, man, for the next 15 years, man. But again, I'm excited for this calendar year. Again, all these fights are starting to take shape. Him buying the Ring magazine, seeing what he's doing, just amazing work, and we're here for it, man.
All right, I think another debate has sparked in the comment section. Crawford's Loaded Glove says Inoue needs to stop fighting cans and move up to 26 to fight Figueroa and Espinoza. And Big Bro says, so fight weight bullies that are naturally 2 weight classes above him. Just because you don't know the guys he's fought doesn't mean they're cans. Espinoza's 6 feet tall. You want to know it to fight a 6-footer? To prove that he's a pound for pound? That's wild.
See the comment that Big Bro just said. He's really talking to you and about Terrence Crawford at 140, Gio. Just because you don't know him, don't knock him, bro.
Hey, Dongo. That's crazy. That's one of the top 5 wild statements you said. You said Idongo was that guy. That's wild.
He was that guy. I'm saying he was a guy, but you go through somebody like Terrence Crawford, people will forget you.
Well, he's a guy. He's not invisible, Chris. He is a guy.
We saw what he did to Errol Spence Jr., man. Come on, man. Quit playing with me. But hey, I support Big Bro just because you don't know these guys that that 118s, 115s, 122s. Come on. Inoue has already he's taking the Pacquiao route up there. And so again, if he does what I think he's gonna do with those 126, man, this guy's going for GOAT status, in my opinion.
Yeah, and then look, before we get out of here, we got to talk Diego Pacheco too, Chris, because he's going to be headlining this Saturday. Diego Pacheco, 23 years old, 22-0, 18 KOs, developing well. He's going up against undefeated Steven Nelson, 20-0, 16 KO, 36 years old. This fight is going down at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. I like this. I like this for Pacheco. On paper, it looks like a tough fight. Nelson, 36 years old, though, so we'll see how he holds up. Got Andy Cruz on the undercard. Ernesto Mercado against Jose Pedraza on the undercard. That's a good fight. Good test for Tito Mercado. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this one. This is on DAZN. Matchroom Boxing. Diego Pacheco, he's back.
Yeah, Diego Pacheco, you see him, he looks like he's an unassuming kind of guy, but I mean, just the way he fights and his height, his reach, his power, this kid's a problem. Again, he reminds me of Benavidez when he was young. So, these guys just have, they have a lot of different attributes, man, that's going to bring them success. So I know that you were big on Diego Pacheco early on. I was like, okay, I'm throwing on him, but no, this kid is talented. And yeah, I favor I favor him over a lot of fighters, and he's becoming a blue chip fighter in my opinion.
Yeah, so that's going down this Saturday. That's what we got basically for the end of this month. And of course, we talked about February already. You know, starting with that David Benavidez, David Morrell fight. Man, it's already coming up. It's already coming up. So we'll talk about that next week. And yeah, I think that's all we got for today, Chris. I don't know if you have anything else, but before we get out of here, we got to thank you guys for keeping that chat lit. What is this second show of the year? Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot to discuss today, and you know we're gonna have a ton to discuss in the upcoming weeks too, with that crazy February schedule. Benavidez, Morrell. We got Better BF Bevo. We got a ton of other fights that I can't even remember off the top, but it's gonna be a great month. So stay tuned, and we'll be back next week.
And Gio, before we get out of here, final question: does Oscar drop a clapback this Thursday? Yes or no?
Dang, who's he gonna clap at? Yeah,
Exactly.
I think he will. I think he'll find a way to talk smack about Canelo or something.
I'm gonna say he doesn't drop a clapback, but if he does, I'm here for it. So again, I don't think he does, but those are fun. Those are entertaining. So if he does, man, we'll talk about it next week on the next episode.
We didn't even talk about Teofimo, Chris. He was also in that Ring Magazine picture. There's a ton of rumors going on with Teofimo. They're saying he turned down the Subriel Matias fight, but it seems like he is going to get a big fight with Turki, Chris. And look, this is Tio. I ran into him at the fights on last Friday here in LA. Cool dude, man. Off camera, he's one of the coolest guys I've met in boxing. But hey, he's hinting at something big happening up next.
Yeah, no. Again, Tio's he's a cool dude. Like, all the times that we've met him, he's a cool guy. Obviously, we have our little bias because we have our boy Arnold, on the podcast, and he's been chasing him down. But yeah, man. Again, we'll see. Again, it's the 140 division along that 154 division, odd division. So many names, so many narratives, so many personalities, so many styles that you can just make so many fights between all those guys. So again, at the end of the day, we love the sport. We want to see these guys get their bags and entertain us along the way. So yeah, we're here to pay for it, and we're here to support these guys and have memorable fights, man. So yeah, let's go.
Big Bro says I'm hearing Unification versus Hitchens. And then he also says Tank dissing Ring Magazine. Tank is getting left out, Chris. He's being loyal to the squad over there at PBC, it seems like. You talk smack about him, but he's still loyal. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Man, Tank is like he gets in a fight with Floyd every other day, and then he's still there. So I think he's got to jump ship, man. It's a stinking ship out there, and I think everybody knows where the money is going and where the future of boxing is going. Something you just gotta let her go, So we'll see what happens with Tank. He's too talented to not be fighting top names and getting his bread. So he's having more fights on Twitter than in the actual ring. So again, we'll see what happens, man. But we know where all the roads lead to. So and it's not Mayweather no more, Gio.
Definitely not, man. Definitely not. And lastly, do you believe Tyson Fury? He says he's retiring again for the 17th time.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening. I think there's too much money involved. I think there's too many big fights, too many sexy heavyweight names out there. No Diddy, but for him to retire after a loss, I don't see it, man. I think he's too prideful. I think he believes in his skills, and I think he'll bounce back. And no shame in losing to the world's number one in Alexander Usyk. So I think he could still get his licks against some of the other top heavyweight names. So I'm not buying it. I think it's just emotion and momentary retirement.
Yeah, one of my predictions was that that fight with AJ was still going to happen, and I do believe it's still going to happen. So we'll see. Yeah, we don't believe it. We don't believe you, Tyson.
We don't believe you, Tyson. We don't want to see Kell Brook, Amir Khan, way past surprise, man. This is a time we'll pay for it. Like we're here to support the sport where it makes sense. So don't leave, Tyson. Go sing karaoke for a few months, but Don't retire, man. I don't believe it.
Come on, you dosser. Big Bro says Oscarin should clap back at him at Tank.
Yeah, that should be a good one.
Or Mayweather. I don't know. All of them. PBC. All of the above.
He'll probably clap back at Pitbull Cruz for pulling out. We'll see, man. He's got a little bit of material to work with, so I don't think he drops it, but he's got material to work with. A little bit, not a whole lot of it, but a little bit.
All right, well, that's that. That's the show for today. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week. Peace, you dossers. Peace, mate.
The W today in the chat, Gio. Pachuco was landing some good hits. Big Bro is always behind the jab. I think Crawford's loaded gloves was he was holding his own in there.
Yeah, Crawford's loaded gloves came in hot. I like that.
Out of the woodwork.
But I like Pachuco though. He was consistent throughout the 12 rounds.
Pachuco was landing the most effective shots. I give him that.
He didn't gas out. It was very consistent. Volume, quality. Shout out to you, Pachuco.
All right, let's go, guys. Come back next week, man. We got more. Let's go.
Let's go, mates. Let's go.
I'm gonna
Okay. I'm very feel.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Francisco Gallo. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Échenle muchas ganas, un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Huge shout out to Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time out y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.